Hey, Apostles family, you might be paying attention to the rest of the country where there are cities that are beginning to open up. And you might have friends or family members that are a part of churches that are beginning to gather again physically as a church. And our city, New York, which is of course far behind the rest of the country, is entering stage one of re-entering and reopening. And so we want to give a picture, a sense of what a path ahead might look like for our church community. We're paying attention to a few things. One, our city has certain phases of reopening. We're just in stage one. And so we're trying to pay attention to what each stage looks like for a community like ours, to gather in small groups to larger groups, and what's allowable, what's safe, what are safety guidelines for us to follow all the protocols. But also we're paying attention to schools, and specifically Regis High School, which is where we gather on Sundays. Regis High School is going to have certain protocols and guidelines for us to follow as a community as we re-enter. We don't know what those guidelines will be, and neither do they. They're still waiting and asking questions and learning. And so we're being patient with them in this season. But we also, as a community, have certain benchmarks that we're thinking about when we begin to imagine, okay, this is what it means to gather again. So here's some of the questions and benchmarks we're thinking about. We're thinking about the worship experience. Can we do some of the normal things that a worship experience does? Can we sing? Are we going to be singing with masks? What does that mean for us as a community? Can we gather corporately in a socially distanced way and it still feel like church? Can we gather following safety guidelines and protocols without putting an inordinate burden on our service teams? Can our families gather with small children and still be able to safely socially distance without feeling like it's a hostile or more stressful environment? And even just emotionally, will we be ready? We have some emotional and health barriers as a city. We're not getting into cars like the rest of the United States. To go to church, we're getting on public transit. We're getting on subways and trains and buses to get to church. How are we feeling? And we want to be able to keep a tab on how everyone is feeling about gathering. We don't want to gather as a church when no one's ready emotionally. And so these are the things that we're paying attention to, we're thinking about, we're praying over. But here's what we are assuming about the next 10 weeks. Right? I think we can plan for the next 10 weeks. One, we're going to continue to gather online. So our same place every week. Keep coming, be faithful. We need one another. And if you are a member or a part of our church community or a Christian, we want to encourage you to continue on into the Lord's Supper each week. Don't check out after the service is over and not take the Lord's Supper with us on Sunday. That is a grace of God and a way in which we see each other's face. So that's important. Also, community groups. We're going to continue to gather in the way that we have. We know that the summer has some changes and breaks involved in that, but continue to be with one another and specifically gather in small groups outside. Eat together, drink together, be socially distanced, wear masks and all that, but be physically present as you can with one another. Read body language, communicate your love towards one another in that way. And for those of you who are outside of the city, you've had to move outside of this city for a brief amount of time, we miss you. Stay engaged. We want to encourage you to stay with us, to be with us, and we're going to be ready for you when you come back. We miss you. We love you. We hope you're doing well. So that's what the next July and August, into August, is going to look like. We don't know what September means. We have a lot of questions. We're obviously going to learn a lot as cities and churches open up throughout the city. We'll take notes. We'll learn lessons. Who knows what a vaccine introduced will mean for us as a city? Each stage is going to have new information. It seems like things change every day. So we're trying to stay on top of everything and keep ourselves and you informed about what the future might look like for us as a community. We miss you. We hate that we can't gather. It's been hard over the last few weeks, especially, to not be with one another physically. And so we're praying for you. We love you. If you need anything, can you please let us know? We'd love to answer any questions or serve you in any way that we can. All right, friends, I'll see you on Sunday, and stay safe.